Hello everyone, welcome back. The Devils did a thing. The Devils have acquired MIRCO MUELLER. MIRCO? And this is 143rd pick from the San Jose Sharks in return for this year's second round and fourth round picks. Now before I begin to dissect the trade and tell you what I think about it, let's just have a bit of history on MUELLER. MUELLER is a Swiss-born two-way defenseman standing at 6'3", 205 pounds. Currently 22 years old with 54 games under his belt, in which he has amassed 6 points. Now, if you go off the scout report that's provided by Elite Prospects, you'll see that MUELLER is a good two-way defenseman, good puck mover, and got some good passing skills to go along with it. You also see that he's been praised in his defensive zone, which is something that the Devils kind of need, stating that he keeps his actions simple, which is always promising. Now, MUELLER came to the Sharks as a highly touted prospect. He did get drafted in 18th overall, which is, very respectable. But since then he's dropped off the map considerably. Now this is down to him being yo-yoed up and down throughout the Sharks organisation, and as we all know, that is never, ever, ever good for a prospect's development. Now when you first look at this trade, you think, Ray Shiro, what are you doing? Second and a fourth for a 22-year-old who hasn't really lived up to the potential he came into the league with. So yeah, if you looked at it and thought, oh, well, that's a bit worrying, what's going on here? You're probably completely entitled to that. But when you look a bit deeper, you can see that these picks are the picks that we acquired from the Lee Stempniak trade to the Bruins and the PA Parento trade to the Nashville Predators. So, it's really not that bad at all. We still keep our picks. We just lost 2 picks for a defenseman who could very well progress in our system. Now, like I just said, the Devils have now got a 22-year-old defensive prospect, which is very, very good for us at the moment, who could very well excel in our system. And to be honest, just you look at it, and you look at his situation, being brought up and then sent back down to the minors again, it sounded like he needed the change, and sometimes players that works just incredibly. So, 22 years old, he's still got plenty of time to establish himself in our lineup, and especially our lineup. Emphasis on that, complete emphasis on that. We have a few defensive prospects in the lineup. Obviously, we've got Santini, we've got Severson, who's pretty much, core player at this point. So, I'm not exactly unhappy about this trade. It was unexpected, but certainly welcomed. Another thing to consider is that Shiro's now actually going down the prospect route, which is fabulous for this club because, let's face it, we was getting a bit of an old man's club. We needed to get that youth back into the system and progress. Now, when you look at it and you think, where's he going to fit into our system? I fully expect him to fit into the second line, something with Severson perhaps. That seems like the best bet at the moment. The handedness complements nicely. Failing that, perhaps even Lovejoy can fit into that spot. It's quite evident that he can't play the top 5 minutes that he was getting last year, so I think him fitting into a second line spot would just be perfect for him. And just an interesting thought before I go. MIRCO MUELLER is Swiss. Born in Switzerland. Started his career in Switzerland. There's a prospect that's been highly touted in this year's draft, who is also Swiss. Coincidence? We'll see. And with that, I'll see you around.